Now, I know what you might be thinking. 2 videos, 1 week? Damn. Surprise, surprise. Well, yeah. I have become a bit more passionate, and I want to talk about D&D some more. I had actually a very fun time talking about D&D last time, so I will continue doing that until I get bored or die. I will also still be talking about games. Don't worry, this is suddenly becoming a D&D channel, although I am a huge fan of D&D and I will talk about it endlessly. Full disclosure though, I have not played very much D&D. It is very hard to find a party, and it is also very hard to have any time in my life. My life is very, very clusterfucky. So, let's talk about D&D. Why should you play D&D? You might say, D&D is just playing with your imagination, essentially. Why would I ever want to do that? If I want to play with my imagination, I can literally do that at any time and not spend, $70 on a player handbook, plus maybe another 70 on a fudging Dungeon Master's Guide, plus maybe another 70 on the Monster Manual. But the thing is that it's funner. Yes, you can just walk up to your friends and be like, hey, let me build this story for you real quick, and I want you in it. But what's going to stop them from being like, all right, my character has a magic sword that is super awesome and great and can kill anyone who is less cool than my sword is? Exactly. Nothing is stopping that from happening. So, you want something that will actually have rules set. You can obviously make your own rules. And this video is about D&D, but this kind of applies to any tabletop RPG, because any single tabletop RPG where you make your own characters and you get to write a story is awesome. And I personally believe you should play it. So Pathfinder, Vampire the Masquerade, fudge, even go back to advanced D&D, or fudging play something else like, Warhammer 40k. I heard this actually really fun. I kind of want to get into it, but haven't been able to at all recently, especially since you have to buy figurines. In D&D, you don't technically have to buy anything besides the manual. And even with that, there are cheaper options. You can get a cheaper version of the manual online. But I haven't explained why I like D&D. See, D&D is kind of like, to me at least, it feels like playing a video game, but you're the creator. And you might say, well, why don't you just make a video game at that point? It's making a video game is hard. You have to learn coding. You have to, understand compelling storytelling. You have to make a 3-act structure. And D&D is a lot more freeform. All of that time that you spent, just learning how to make a video game, you instead could spend making a D&D campaign. Or even if you don't want to make a D&D campaign, you can run one that's already pre-made. As long as you understand how to make sure that your friends are having fun, which if you have good friends and you've been known them for a while, you should understand how to make sure they're having fun. Then you can make a D&D campaign at any time that you want. Say, you decide, you know what? I want to go on a ship adventure where, we're sailing the high seas. And, we have to worry about things like maybe krakens and stuff like that. You can then also decide, how intense do you want that story to be? Do you want to have to worry about manning the ship, manning your food, manning, all of these important things? Or do you want to just have the fun side of it, where you're thinking about where should we go? What adventures are out there? There's a ship being attacked. Should we go, help, or should we wait and then attack whichever one survives and loot both ships? These are things that you can decide for yourself, and you can decide which one you prefer because you found a DM. You decide if that DM is good for you. Or maybe it's the other way around. You instead want to be the DM, which in my opinion is the funner part of D&D. I love playing a player, but making a story and having your friends play in that story to me is so much more interesting and so much more entertaining. You go into the world, you're like, oh, I'm not sure what to do just yet, but I know what I want my final boss to be. You know, for some reason you thought about that first. You're like, I want to finish off this adventure with a dragon. And now you're thinking like, well, shit. Well, what kind of abilities do I want my dragon to have? You open up your monster manual. You see a bunch of different dragons. You see silver dragons, red dragons, chromatic dragons. You can now, instead of having to think up of whatever abilities that you just automatically thought of off the top of your head, you look at the book and you're like, all right, what if I want to make my own dragon? Maybe I'll take the design more of a red dragon, but maybe I want the abilities of a chromatic dragon. And so you put those together, and it's a lot easier to think about because they already tell you like how much damage these things do. They tell you how smart this type of dragon is. So, you have that set up, and now you got to think, well, shoot, this dragon is, let's say, a DC 20. Maybe it's an ancient dragon. Let's say, it's a DC 20. Well, shoot, now I have to find a way to build my characters up to fight this dragon. Maybe I want it to be an entire dragon campaign. And, they have to fight their way up to become strong enough to even challenge this dragon. Well, now you got to think, why are my characters fighting the dragon? You might think of of a million different reasons. Maybe the dragon has destroyed their entire village. And so, your party is the only ones that survived. And now they have a vendetta against this dragon. And they want to defeat this dragon. They're going to have to become stronger to do that. So maybe they go to a different town to join the Adventurers League and work their way up the ranks to hopefully go and fight the dragon. Or maybe they have a completely different reason. Maybe this is just a world where people like to kill things. That could 100% just be it. It could just be, this is a world filled with adventurers. So, of course, they hear about a chromatic dragon in the woods, and they want to go fight it, but they're not strong enough. They're level 1, or they're level 5, or even fudge, you can maybe even start them at a level 10. So you have to think about, how am I going to wane them up? If you want to make it a very dragon-centric campaign, maybe you start them off at like level 5, and you have them get challenged by like a weakened dragon right at the beginning of the game. They're living their life. They've already adventured for a little bit. They fought their fair share of goblins and kobolds and ghosts, striders. They fought their fair share of monsters, but now they have to fight a dragon. But they see the dragon is already kind of wounded. That's weird. Why is the dragon this monumentous, let's say it's a DC 10, already like almost on its deathbed? So they fight it, they kill it, and it turns out that dragon was being hunted by these higher level adventurers that are coming from a world filled with dragons. Turns out there's a portal that takes you to another world where everything is dragons. And so there's a dragon king that has been that's had reign over the entire world. Now your party wants to go kill that. They're like, oh, shoot, I want to go murder that thing. Isn't that so exciting? Doesn't that sound so fun? Doesn't it get you invigorated? Imagine if you, in real life, had the strength to go fucking murder hundreds of dragons and become the Dragon King, maybe. So now you're teleported to this world and you're like, well, I'm still, level 5. Maybe I leveled up to a level 6 or 7 because of how powerful that dragon was. And I'm a little bit higher now. Now we need to figure out, well, how do we get there? So you show them like, oh, these different areas have like different type of dragons. Each one maybe has their own ruling dragon, but they all are under the umbrella of this big ass dragon. So you go around, you show them the different types. You show them that even there are some nice dragons, some dragons that are helpful, because dragons are very intelligent creatures. They create their own society. They can create their own society, I should say. Maybe you see like dragonborns from people that have found these nice dragons and have decided to mate with them. So now they have dragonborns, and this world is just populated by things like this. And so you introduce to them these new situations that all make them more excited about the final fight. Because all you want is for them to get up to fight the dragon that you created. Maybe even you made a special dragon. Maybe you made like a lich dragon. And so now you tell your characters that you actually have to destroy this dragon's phylactery in order to even have a chance of killing the dragon itself. So now you have to like build your story around that. And that is just so insanely awesome. Because at all this time, you're thinking to yourself, you may be thinking to yourself right now, well, these are just characters. My character is doing that. But no, that's you. You roleplay your character. You're not having pre-made choices that you get to decide between like, I'm a fighter and I guess my character would probably do this. No, you're like, you know what? This is who I am in this world. So my fighter has a distinct hatred for, silver dragons. So maybe I want to go destroy all of those dragons. That's a personal feeling. You feel that shit in your heart. You're like, yes, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to kill these fucking dragons. Your character has like a backstory where they hate dragons. They have a reason to despise dragons. So now you're going out there, you're fucking murdering them. And it's all for you. You feel that joy. You feel that investment. You want to go kill those dragons. And so you do. And you make friends. And you make enemies. And you get surprised by the intricacy of dungeons. You get these gold. You find magic items. You find boots that help you fly. So now you can challenge a dragon even when it's flying up in the air. You get a spear that can shoot out electricity, but only a few times a day. So you have to think about, well, shoot, when can I use this? You're in a dragon campaign, so maybe some dragons are weaker than other ones. You have a fire dragon, maybe they're weak to water attacks. So now you think about, shoot, I have to find a way to get water attacks. Maybe you go challenge a water dragon, and maybe your character is able to figure out a way to harness the power of the water dragon and create maybe like a water wand that only has like 2 uses or something. So when you go fight the fire dragon, now you have to think about when is the right time to use my water wand, because I'm not going to get a chance like this again. My water wand only has 2 uses. So now you have like all these things that you can think about because they are you. This is you. And this isn't just like a game where you can plow through it, not caring about the cutscenes or the NPCs, plow through it in a day or two, leveling up and just going through. You are invested in the scenario. So now you're the one going through it, and you're going through it over a long time. Most people, when they play D&D, they only get to play it once per week. So you get the entire week of anticipation, like, oh my god, we just defeated the silver head dragon. But when we did that, he had time to alert the big dragon. So now I'm thinking, oh shoot, what am I gonna do? What am I going to do next session? What does my DM have planned for me next session? What are we going to have to deal with? Because we're exhausted from fighting that silver dragon. We're kind of low on hit points. We're low on magic. What are we going to do to stand up against what this lich dragon's about to throw at us? So you're building up with its anticipation. Next game follows. Turns out the lich dragon has actually resurrected the other dragons that you've defeated. Maybe you defeated the red and dragon and the water dragon. So now they have been resurrected and they're gunning for you. They might not get there immediately. They might not get there in a few days, but you know that sooner or later you're going to have to refight these two dragons that have been resurrected by the Lich Dragon. And now you're worried. You're like, oh shoot, what am I going to do? What if I die? I'm scared. I may be level 11 and we did defeat these, dragons before already, but now the stakes are so much higher because two of them are gunning after me. So I don't even know what their tactics are going to be. They're undead, so they might be a lot more animalistic. You have to think about all these things. And then the DM can, describe things. So, you go into a fight, and you're like, oh, I want to slash this dragonborn that worships the silver dragon. I want to slash him in his leg. And so, you roll your dice, you get a 19, his armor class is only 15, and your DM is like, oh, you take out your mighty blade, and you completely sever the dragonborn's leg as you see it go flying off. Roll damage dice. You roll your, fudging, 3d5, and you get, max hits. You get 25 damage on him right then and there. 15. You get 15 damage right then and there. The Dragonborn falls to the ground. You can see him wrenching in pain. He stares at you with this look of absolute fear, but also determination, because he knows that if he doesn't kill you here, you're going to challenge his master. So he gets back up to continue the fight. That's so beautiful. That's so amazing. It causes so much dopamine, so much serotonin. You have it instantly hitting your brain. You're ready to keep going and keep investing in these characters. So if your character dies or if your character succeeds, you feel it. You're like, yes, I defeated the Lich Dragon. I finally freed this world of its evil ruler. Or you're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? My character is so fucking close to death. What do I do? And then roll death saving throws. You accidentally get a nat 1, and your character dies. And now you're like, fuck. I don't know what to do anymore. Everything breaks down at that point. Your soul kind of breaks a little bit because you've spent the past 3-4 months trying to bring your character up, making him as strong as he possibly can be. And after all of this, he dies. And yeah, maybe there's a way to bring him back. Maybe your party has a shiny diamond, a very expensive diamond, and one of your characters is a cleric, so he can use Revivify on him. Or maybe the soul is stuck in the Lich's phylactery, so now you guys have to go and do it. But now you're invested. You're hoping, you're praying that the characters can find a way to bring you back to life, because your soul is gone. And maybe you can't bring yourself back to life. And now you have to make a brand new character. And you have to make a new reason for him to want to be there. Maybe you decided it's your character's brother. He found out about his death and he wants, revenge. So he joins the party. You're going to have to explain why he's level 11, despite the fact that he hasn't been in the demons, area or anything. But you want to be alive again. And that breaks you. That breaks you as a person. You feel genuinely hurt at the fact that your character is now dead. So you have to find a way to move on from that. And that emotional impact is why I play D&D. Because the highs and the lows, no matter how low, no matter how high, you feel it. You personally feel that high. You personally feel that low. And you want to get out of it, or you want to find a way to beat it. It can be sad, but it can also be amazing, People cry in D&D campaigns because their favorite NPC just died, or they made a genuinely good relationship with a different NPC and they fell in love with them, and they're gonna have a wedding and whatnot. But a few months before they're able to have their wedding, they end up getting into a fight with a goblin and they died. That's really sad. And that's why I absolutely adore this game, and why I could not go my entire life not playing a game like this, because it's not like a video game. You can start up a D&D campaign with literally no preparation and just a few key concepts and a few story beats in your head of what you want to happen and make an amazing campaign. You don't have to wait until December 2023 for when the next fucking Demon Souls game comes out. You don't have to wait for, a bunch of developers to get things done and make the story that you want and hope and pray that they didn't fuck up the story that you wanted to make. Instead, you made it. You put your heart out there, and you did it with your friends. You did it with the people you care about. And that feels really good. I hope you had fun watching this video. And I hope that this video could have did maybe just a little bit to get you pumped. And maybe even convince you to want to play Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day and stay beautiful.